We want to grow the number of social houses in New Zealand. That's a different issue to whether or not we want the number of state houses owned by Kainga Ora to increase.
And on state houses, one...
Hang on. I'm going to go back for that because I missed that on the night as well. Yeah, sounds like you're saying important. We want more social houses, but maybe Kainga Ora aren't the people to do it. I just want to listen to that again. I'll pause it after this comment. I can see you firing up, Chewy. Let's just have a look.
Social houses in New Zealand. That's a different issue to whether or not we want the number of state houses owned by Kainga Ora to increase.
So more social housing, but maybe we'll put to the side of the conversation Kainga Ora leads to what, Chewy?
That leads to more private landlords, whether it is through social housing, through religious charity groups or some other charity structure, or public-private ownership, that sort of thing. He's just decided against all evidence since before World War II that the best social housing project is one that the government runs and can do at massive scale. That doesn't work. Never works. How many New Zealanders got raised in state houses?
Bro.
Yeah, and what is the problem that we have been talking about and various governments acknowledging, denying, doesn't happen? We don't have a housing crisis. John Key said that for years. No such thing. Never mind. Don't worry about it. People living in cars, it's fine. Sweet as. It counts as a roof. And then we have, during the Ardern government, this massive binge of housing, like a generational run of building more houses. And no one's going to keep that up. These guys aren't going to do it because it's going to affect the bottom line of landlords. More supply of housing, lower rents. This is the downward pressure that they are so keen on, but they're not going to do it. You want to bring a price down, you add more of the product. That is just basic economics.
We're not going away from the story, but we'll just come for a second because I to be honest, I missed that when I was queuing this all up. I watched this on one news and I watched it again and I missed it. I just heard it then for the first time. Kieran, you're obviously in that building yelling at those people across the house. What do they mean when they're saying, yeah, more social housing? Absolutely. Maybe not for Kainga Ora though. What does that mean? And how do you guys react to that?
Well, what I'm about to say is not even a paraphrase or an interpretation. I can repeat what he said in the press conference because he went to some effort to clarify what he meant. By social housing, he means the provision of housing not by Kainga Ora, but by community housing providers. That is entirely consistent with their position leading up to the election, and it is entirely consistent with the entire 9 years of the Key and English government. The National Party do not believe that it is the state's responsibility to provide houses. They believe it's their responsibility to fiddle around with planning laws and help facilitate community housing providers to do what I would wager the three of us and many of the people watching would think is actually the state's responsibility. And that's the crux of the problem. We've been down this road before. We've heard this rhetoric before, and where we ended up was with 1,500 fewer houses, because if the government doesn't help community housing providers pay for the new builds, they don't happen. And what I mean by that is through the income-related rent subsidy. So when people talk about social houses, they mean tenants in a house that pay no more than 25% of their income on rent, and the rest is topped up by the government. And that security of funding is all that the community housing providers need to go and sign off on a new development and build new homes, because they know that that money will come through. But the government hasn't committed to that funding. They didn't through the 9 years of Key government, and they haven't so far in this government. And all that will happen is that the progress that we've made will stall and go backwards. And that was the massive omission from today. If they came out today and said, we are going to confirm the funding beyond 2025 for the next 4 years, or for 6,000 houses like we did in our manifesto, then we actually would have acknowledged that. We still would have made many of the points that we did. but at least they've given the sector certainty. But they don't still know where they stand. And it's just not going to go anywhere. It's just a fact. There's so many examples that we can point to demonstrate that.